Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Yes, we are bringing back the intro. I tried to mix it up and like do a little rebrand, and the people have spoken. Y'all want that intro, okay? I've heard you loud and clear. Another bookish video it is. So welcome back. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be doing a massive fall book haul for you guys. I have a ton of new releases. Most of these that I actually bought for myself, I picked up in my Come Book Shopping With Me vlog with Aspen. If you missed that, I'll link it up above and down below and you can see how I bought all of these books. We did a little haul in that video, but I did just want to include them in a regular haul as well because I know not everyone watches the book shopping videos, but you might want to see what I hauled because I'll be choosing from this grouping of books to read over the next few months. I also had a ton of books sent to me by publishers. I literally don't know how it happened, but I gave my shipping address to one publisher and then suddenly all of them have my address. So I'm receiving a ton of ARCs, which I'm very grateful for, also very confused about. These books just started showing up, so I wanted to show them to you guys, get your input. Which ones do you want me to prioritize? Let me know down below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this massive haul. You might want to get a snack or a drink or something because there's a lot. And they're all mixed up and out of order, so there's no rhyme or reason to this. We're just jumping in. Starting out with my first book on the stack. This is The Haters by Robin Harding. Robin Harding's new release and also my book club pick for the month of August. We are going to discuss this very soon, just next week on my Pretty Girl Book Club live show. We do sprints, we do our book club read, we do exclusive videos, we do readathons, we do all the fun things over on my Patreon. It's always linked down below. If you're interested in joining, join the Pretty Girl Book Club. We have so much fun over there. This is a new release thriller that was voted our pick this month. I'm super excited to discuss with the girlies because I have thoughts. It is a very much drama about an author who gets a 1-star review and it just absolutely vexes her, lives in her mind rent-free, and she's determined to find out who the haters are and why they want her to feel so horrible about herself. It's this whole conspiracy, very interesting topic of discussion, as you can probably guess for me, and really interesting thriller as well. If you like Robin Harding, you're gonna like this one. Next up, I was sent this group of little short storybooks, and these are absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. This is a collection of folk horror. Like, look at these sprayed edges. They're so gorgeous. I'm really excited to get into these little folk horror stories. They're short stories edited by Paul Kane and Marie O'Regan. And they have a ton of authors that I'm familiar with in here. Neil Gaiman, Adam Neville, Jen Williams. Oh my gosh, and V. Castro. I love her as well. So yeah, we will see about this. Also in this collection, we have Midsummer Mysteries. Short stories edited by Martin Edwards. Focus on like British crime writing, it looks like. I don't really recognize many of these authors, but obviously I love mysteries, so I'm interested in them regardless. And then the last one I have here is Discontinue If Death Ensues, Tales from the Tipping Point. And these are all stories by Stoker Award nominees. So really awesome horror authors, again with the sprayed edges. I think these are gonna look gorgeous on my shelves. I have some other short story collections on a shelf that y'all don't really see. It's not any of these. It's over by my desk over here, and I just think they're gonna look absolutely gorgeous all stacked up. I might have to do them like this on the shelf. Yeah, you should check these out. They publish in October according to the literature that I have over here that they sent along with the books. I'm excited to get into these and to display them as well. Next up, we have a new release from Chuck Palahniuk. This is Damned, and I already read this one actually, so I'll give you some of my thoughts. We're following a 13-year-old girl named Madison, and she is in hell, okay? She died and she got sent to hell, and she is figuring it out. So we are are exploring the ultimate punishment through the lens of a very snarky adolescent perspective. It is funny, it is subversive, it is fucked up. I kind of felt in the middle about things because there were some things that I just think were said and described for shock value that I don't think added to the story at all and just kind of gave like edgelord in the back of the class. But aside from that, there are some really great passages in here. I just think that kind of stuff like cheapens the messaging. This quote I absolutely love. I posted it on my Instagram and a lot of y'all were inquiring what book it was. It is this. I'll give a more comprehensive review when I get into my August wrap up next week, but yeah, that is Damned. Of course, I had to pick up the new release from Tessa Bailey. This is the Au Pair Affair, about a woman who is an au pair for a single dad and hockey player. I don't know if I've ever read a nanny romance that I've enjoyed, so hopefully this one does it for me. Y'all know I love Tessa Bailey. She usually will do it for me, so I put all my faith in her. Ooh, next up I have Copycat by Alex Lake. I'm so excited to get to this one. I actually might put this on my September TBR because it sounds like such a unique thriller. This woman is just like living this life. She has a pretty perfect, like average suburban life. And then she discovers a Facebook profile that is of herself. And she's like, oh my God, somebody's just like trying to be me. Like, that's crazy. Let me report it. And when she goes to report it, she notices that all the photos on the Facebook page are of her life, but there are no photos that she remembers actually taking. So she has a stalker who's creating a separate profile based on her life, the reality of her life, but she doesn't know who it is or where they're getting these photos. And thriller things ensue from there. I am literally putting this in a stack over here so I can read it next month because I want to read it immediately. Another recently released thriller from Araminta Hall. We have One of the Good Guys, and this is, I'm pretty sure, a good for her-esque thriller. I have felt that Araminta Hall has been hit or miss for me in the past, but with this one on sale at Half Price Books, I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. I also love the cover of this one. This is one I'll definitely be reading during the upcoming spooky season, and that is Queer Little Nightmares, an anthology of monstrous fiction and poetry. So this is all like queer creature features. Again, love the cover of this one. It is so iconic, and it kind of goes along with one of my favorite essay collections, which is Out of the Closet, and that book kind of explains through a series of essays why horror and creature features are so important for queer people, and so I think I'm really gonna like this collection. Next up, we have more from Half Price Books. This is Lakewood by Megan Giddings, and I think I like kind of missed the boat on this one. Like, everyone read this a few years ago and I just never came across a copy of it, but now I have one and it sounds right up my alley. Sci-fi horror about unethical experiments using black bodies with really great commentary, really trippy stuff going on. So I'm really excited to get to this one as well. This will be another October read, I think. Next up, we have another new release thriller. This is actually one of my favorite books of 2024 so far. I had a super early arc of this book, but I wanted a finished copy, so I got one. This is, of course, The Next Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine, the follow-up to The Last Mrs. Parrish, which is one of my favorite thrillers of all time. Perfect rich people drama summer moment. The sequel carries through exactly what I loved in the original. Flawless. Yet another new release thriller here. We have The Truth About the Devlins by Lisa Scottoline. If you remember, one of my recent favorites from a new release thriller vlog was What Happened to the Bennets by Lisa Scottoline. So I wanted to read more from her. This is a very similar premise about the downfall of a typical suburban family that is plagued with this action, fast-paced thriller plot, exactly like the one that I loved from her already. So very excited to get into this one. Next up, we have a little horror book that was sent my way from Aurora Dimitri, which I love her name. This is called New Match. And I think this premise sounds hilarious, okay? This is about a little girl, well, not like little girl, but like a high school girl who decides to sign up her unpleasant English teacher for a dating service to humiliate her. And then this girl disappears. And then all her friends start disappearing. Someone does not like what they've done to their teacher, and they're about to find out exactly what can happen when you make the wrong person angry. And this feels like an adult version of a Fear Street book. Like this premise, I could totally picture being in a Fear Street book, but obviously this is adult horror. I'm so excited to read this one. More horror here. We have The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This was almost my August book club pick. The poll results were so neck and neck. So I definitely have to get this one read for you guys. I love the cover. It's good for her female serial killer vibes. I'm pretty sure she eats men's eyeballs. So yeah, I'm down. I was also sent the new Casey McQuiston release, which I'm so excited about. And it came in the most adorable package. They sent me so much bullshit along with this adorable copy of this book. Like, I'm living for this book. First of all, like, hello, this is so freaking cute. And this is about two bi main characters in a little cute romance. I'm so freaking excited to read it. They literally pulled out all the stops for this arc. Like, hello, not the matching perfumes, one for each character. Like, adorable. Even Cameron, when I opened this arc, was like, oh my god, that's so cool. So props to Casey McQuiston and their team for coordinating this. It's so gorgeous. Can't wait to read it. Of course, I had to pick up the latest edition in the Spy X Family series. This is a manga series that I've been really loving. It's literally the only manga series that I've kept up with because I actually care about it. And I think it is so cute and so funny. This is the 12th book in the series, following a family who is, unbeknownst to the rest of the world, a like undercover spy operation. They just look like this normal family, but they're really on a mission to like kill all these bad guys. And it's just fun and silly and goofy, and I love it. Next up, we have Shiver. I plan on reading this thriller during the winter. I was looking at my shelves trying to plan out the rest of my TBR for the end of 2024, and I realized I have like nothing to include in my little wintry vlogs that I like to do around Christmas. So I picked up this one by Ali Reynolds. It says it starts as a reunion and it ends with a murder. So I think this is going to be very Lucy Foley-esque, like family getting together, locked door mystery, someone dies, we have to figure out who and who the killer is and why. Very straightforward, snowy, isolated mystery. Next up, we have Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman. I wanted to read this one during my 24-hour readathon, but I just ran out of time. But I am super interested in this one. Sounds like such a great drama-filled summer thriller. And apparently these like besties were accused of murdering their third bestie 10 years ago, but they were cleared. So now when one of them shows up at the other's doorstep asking for an alibi, they're like, yeah, we've already done this before. Let's go ahead and do it again. Like, are they going to get away with murder again? Is this like The Lying Game by Ruth Ware? I don't know, but I'm very intrigued. Next up, we have The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco by Michelle Chouinard. Hopefully I said that correctly. And this one goes on sale next month. It's about a girl who discovers she's the granddaughter of a serial killer, and she makes her living giving serial killer tours around San Francisco. But she always has believed in her grandfather's innocence, even though she's never fully gotten into the details of the case, which that's wild to me, because if my grandfather was a serial killer, I would make that my whole personality. I would feel like I had to atone, but also be like morbidly obsessed. I would know everything. Like, how do you just not know? I don't know. Weird. But now a copycat killer of her grandfather's like style is striking San Francisco, and she feels like she has to solve what's going on here, so she gets involved. I think we're gonna learn if her grandfather was innocent and who the current serial killer is, so dual mystery. Sounds kind of goofy, funny, like Finlay Donovan-esque. I'm into it. Next up, I have 2 books by Emma Cline. I have The Girls and The Guest. And I've been really interested in this author. I really want to film a taste test video, so I picked up the 2 of these. I've just seen, this is kind of embarrassing. I've seen a lot of people on the like cool girls reading Instagram reading Emma Cline, and so I'm interested in what these books are and why the cool girls are always reading them. I guess I'll give you all the tea. Next up, I have The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is about a young girl who I believe is a serial killer. Yeah, she feels like no empathy for any of her victims until she's seen by a man. She's feeling seen by a boy that she's dating, and she starts questioning herself if he will ever accept her darker side, if she just has to throw all of the care that she has for him out the window and kill him, and it sounds really good. I also found Checkout 19 by Claire Louise Bennett on sale at Half Price Books. I only spent a couple dollars on this, but now I'm like, honestly, even though it was super cheap, I'm like kind of regretting it, because if you saw in my 24-hour reading vlog where I just read for 24 hours straight, I will link it up above and down below if you missed it. I read Pond by the same author and I ended up only giving it 2 stars. So I hope this one works out better for me. It's just about a woman who is so caught up with her own delusions and her like maladaptive daydreaming fantasy world that she is so disconnected from reality she starts to believe it's true. That sounds like a premise I could totally get down with. Like, that's really gonna resonate with me, but also like the writing style, I'm fearful. We have another arc here. This one just went on sale, actually goes on sale tomorrow. It goes on sale on August 27th, and that is Red River Road by Anna Downs. This is a thriller. I believe it takes place in Australia. Yes, we're following Katie, who is looking for her missing sister. Her sister Phoebe went missing a few weeks ago as she was on a solo like van life trip, and Katie is looking for her, refusing to give up on her as she's retracing social media. But then she crosses paths with Beth, who is on the run from her own dark past, and Katie realizes Beth might be her best and only chance of finding out the truth about what happened to her sister. So this sounds like it's almost inspired by like the Gabby Petito horrible disappearance and murder that ended up happening a couple years ago now, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it sounds like very, very, very loosely inspired by it, but every time I get like a little twinge of true crime in a thriller, I just get a little nervous of how it's going to be handled. So maybe I'll have to read this one quickly and let you guys know what my thoughts are. Jumping back over into romance, I have the new release from Ashley Poston. This is a novel love story, and it's about a girl who finds all of her comfort through reading romance novels, and I just think that's so relatable. Obviously, to be in a romance novel, like the people that are going to read it are going to identify with that. I think it's very cute, and she finds herself in a meet cute situation when her car breaks down in a little small town, and she's like, oh my god, I'm about to be in my own romance novel. I think this is such a cute idea for a romance, although it is getting mixed reviews. I'm excited to see what I think of it. Next up, I have a couple books that I got in my last book of the month box. Starting out with a new release from Kimberly McCreight, which I love her. I've given her 5 stars multiple times, I believe, in the past. This is Like Mother, Like Daughter, a new thriller about generational trauma in a little rich people drama generational wealth family. Cleo is like the polar opposite of her mother, and she finds out that her mother has passed away, but she's also been lying about her life. So she has to uncover the truth, not only about her mother's death, but also about her mother's life. I also have Bad Taurus by Caro Carver, about a dream trip to the Maldives that goes wrong when people start turning up dead. This to me kind of sounds like We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz, which I also gave 5 stars. So hopefully I like this one just as much. I feel like if you like one, you're gonna like the other. Next up, we have How to Be Eaten by Maria Adelman, and this is like a modern retelling of a bunch of different fairy tales from a feminist lens. And all of these women that are the main characters of these fairy tales, like Cinderella and Red Riding Hood, and I'm trying to think of all of them. Oh, Gretel from Hansel and Gretel. They all go to group therapy and they're all trying to understand their trauma and also understand how they're connected to each other and the common narrative that binds them all together. And I already read this one and I was absolutely obsessed with it. I binged it in a day. I have mixed feelings about the ending. I'll go into more depth in my August wrap up, but if you are interested in this premise at all, I would say it's definitely worth the read. Next up, we have another book that I've already read. I read this one in my new release thriller vlog that I filmed this month, and that is The Vacancy in Room 10 by Serafina Nova Glass. I absolutely love this one. It's about a woman who lost her husband. He was last seen at this apartment complex that used to be a motel. So she goes back there to try to figure out what happened to him, and she runs into the weird cast of characters who lives there. We're also following the perspective of a female killer in this complex, and it is so good. I don't know if my new release thriller vlog will be up by the time I post this haul video, but if you watch that, then you know how obsessed I am with this book. And if not, then I guess you'll see, and that's a little spoiler for the vlog. I also picked up The Night of the Storm by Nishta Parekh. And this one was actually recommended by Ashley Winstead on her Instagram. This was a arc that she read, and when it released, she was like going nuts, posting it everywhere. I trust Ashley Winstead with my life, so I went ahead and picked it up. It seems like a straightforward murder mystery, isolated setting in a grand house during a storm. As a hurricane descends, a family takes shelter, and when the night turns deadly, everyone is a suspect. Giving rich people drama with stormy atmosphere. Yeah, I'll be reading this in September. And next up, I have a few more books by Aurora Dimitri. She was so sweet to reach out to me and send me a ton of her books, so thank you so much to Aurora for that. The next one we have here is Vendetic Spawn, which, hello, like, look at this cover, oh my god. And it's an 80s metal band slasher. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? That sounds exactly up my alley. We also have, I'm not sure how to say this, Gillaum? I don't know. It's about 42 boys who crashed on an island in the Caribbean, and only 15 of them have made it back alive. So we're following one of the guys who survived in his first year of college, and now he has to confront everything that happened all of those years ago, his survivor's guilt, etc. And the last one we have here from Aurora is Serial Killers with Cookies, which, hello, like, of course, yes, that's so funny. It says, Justine Hoffman's parents are dead, and it was the cookies that killed them. She knows that sounds like the plot of a kitschy, cozy mystery, but it's true. Two young women showed up on their doorstep the night they moved into a new town with a plate of cookies. Now she is the only survivor thanks to her gluten intolerance. Now she's living with her grandparents, just trying to have a normal year. But when a boy that she goes on a date with gets kidnapped, she has to confront this. Why are people dying around her? Was it really the cookies, or is it something else? We have some more stuff that I'm gonna want to read this fall, starting out with The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I've heard so many things about this book. Y'all were loving it last fall. It was so recommended to me, so I got it. This is about a woman in modern day who is one of the last remaining witches in the UK. And so she's trying to like keep her head down, but she apparently like finds community with other witches, and it's supposed to be like very cute, heartwarming, lovely, spooky read. So this will be going on my fall TBR. Alongside My Darling Dreadful Thing by Joanna Van Veen. And this is about a threesome with a ghost. Yeah, I don't know, this is giving like bisexual, paranormal, murder, mystery, romance, horror, weird. I'm gonna love it. The synopsis, I'm not gonna lie, is really confusing. There's a lot of names and it's hard to keep everything straight, but what I've gathered is ghost, romance, murder. And someone I very much trust gave it 5 stars already, so I'm sold. Also on my fall TBR is Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. This is a YA novel by Darcy Coates, but I'm excited to read it because it sounds so good about this serial killer called the Stitcher. And it says, don't walk alone, the Stitcher will find you. Don't stay out late, the Stitcher will take you. Don't close your eyes, the Stitcher will remake you. About a serial killer who leaves his victims all jumbled up, like the body parts are reattached like a Picasso-esque way. It sounds really horrifying, especially for a YA novel, and I'm really interested to see how Darcy does it. Another YA horror we have here is Two Sides to Every Murder by Danielle Valentine. This is about a girl whose mother was accused of a camp massacre years and years ago, and she's returning to the camp to try to prove her mother's innocence. It's gonna give like modernized Friday the 13th kind of vibes, and y'all know I'm here for that with my like summer camp obsession that's been happening this year. Next up, we have a new release thriller that's been like sweeping booktube, bookstagram, book talk everywhere. Everyone's been talking about this, I feel. Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel. This is about a woman who becomes a pen pal with a serial killer in prison. And then when he's released, she's like, you can come live with me, baby. And then she starts to realize and like question, like, did he actually do it? So his crazy, weird, hyperfixation girly who's like, yeah, like, come and live with me. Like, I love you. Also is suspicious of him, and she's like being a little investigator. I love that she's like playing both sides. I think I'm gonna be obsessed with this book. Of course, we have the new Lisa Jewell, Breaking the Dark. And this is a Jessica Jones mystery crime novel about a girl who tried to be like a superhero, because this is like under the Marvel universe, which I'm not really excited about. I'm not a Marvel girl, I'm sorry. But she's like, you know, she tried to be a little crime fighting superhero, it didn't work out. So now she's a private eye. We'll see. Next up, I have a nonfiction called If Love Could Kill about why women commit violence. And I'm so interested in this. I feel like it's gonna go into the actual science and research behind feminine rage, which I feel like a lot of people tragically misunderstand. Obviously, we know I'm not one of those people, so I feel like this is gonna be very validating. I also picked up Animal by Lisa Tadeo. This was recommended to me by some of y'all, but also by people in my real life, non-avid readers. And anytime the people in my life who aren't big readers are like, you have to read this book, I always trust them. And this is about a woman who spends her whole life enduring the cruelties of men, and then she starts to tap into her animalistic instincts and strike back. So sounds like something I'll love. Next up, I have a super early arc that I am so freaking excited about. This one doesn't come out till January 2025, but I already have it in my hands and I'm so excited. I could not be more excited to read this book. It's the new Eric LaRocca. Obviously, y'all know I love their work. I am obsessed with everything they've ever done. At dark, I become loathsome. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. It says, a single line of text glowing in the darkness of the internet, written by Ashley Luton, who has often thought the same and worse in the years since his wife died and his young son disappeared. But the peace of the grave is not for him. It's for those he can help. Ashley has constructed a peculiar ritual for those whose desire to die is at war with their yearning to live a better life. If you are reading this, you've likely thought the world would be a better place without you. So this is gonna be, I think, like trippy mental health, SI leaning horror about grief, about suicidality. It's gonna be dark, it's gonna be intense, as Eric LaRocca books always are, but I always really like their writing. So I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna read this ASAP. And thank you so much to Eric for sending that my way. Like, so grateful. I'm obsessed. Next up, I have Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. This one was actually given to me by my friend, and she said it's essential for every therapist to read. So I'm gonna get into it. It's about the surprising science behind women's bodies and sexuality, and I feel like I need to know it. You know, working with survivors, working with the LGBTQIA community, I talk about sex and relationships all the time in session, so I'll be giving this a read to not only inform my practice, but to inform myself. Also have a couple more new release thrillers. They are never ending. We have What Have You Done by Sherry Lapina. And I love that this title is a question. Like, what have you done? It's giving the monologue from the mother in Hereditary and I Live. It's about a sleepy little town where nothing bad ever happens, but one morning a little girl is found dead. Who done it? And we also have We Used to Live Here by Marcus Klewer. This is another one that I just featured in my new release thriller vlog. Kind of thriller, kind of horror, but I am absolutely obsessed with it nonetheless. Full thoughts in the vlog. I'm not gonna spoil it, but of course, I had to grab a hard copy of the new Riley Sager book, which I read earlier this year and absolutely loved. Featured this one in a past new release thriller vlog, and I give it 4 stars. It's about a little boy's disappearance, and he was sleeping next to his best friend in a tent when he was taken. All these years later, that little boy has grown up and he is rehashing what happened the night his bestie disappeared, never to be seen again. I thought it was really good. I think this is getting really harsh reviews for like no fucking reason. Like, I just think it was a good book. I don't know. I think people are like a little dramatic about Riley Sager releases. For some reason, he gets really harsh criticism. Y'all are weird. I also have House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. I don't know what happened to Greer Hendricks, but I'm excited to get into this new release. It says, on the outside, they were a golden family with a perfect life. On the inside, they know that they built that perfect life, brick by brick. A young nanny has plunged to her death, or was she pushed? A little girl collects sharp objects and refuses to speak. And now a lawyer whose job it is to uncover who in this family is a victim and who is a murderer comes forward. But how can you find the truth when everyone is lying? Very standard thriller description. I'm intrigued and I really want to know, like, if anyone knows the drama, like whatever happened to Greer Hendricks, is there drama? Or is Sarah Pekkanen just like continuing on? Greer got tired of writing, like, but is there I also have a horror book here that everyone in my Patreon has been raving about. Like, everyone who's read this book loves it. And that is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. I usually like Josh Malerman books, so I'm expecting to like this one as well, especially because it's got some creepy kid stuff in it, and y'all know I love that. We are following 8-year-old Bella, whose family is her world. Mommy, Dado, and Grandma Ruth. But there's also other mommy. A malevolent entity who asks her every day, can I go inside your heart? It's giving Coraline, but make it horror. Have a few more that were sent to me by publishers. We have I'll Be Waiting by Kelly Armstrong. This is about a main character with cystic fibrosis whose life was extended into her 30s, farther than she ever thought she would live by medical advances. And then she met Anton, who taught her to dream of a future together with him. But only months after they got married, Anton has died in a horrible car crash, uttering with his final breath the words, I'll be waiting for you. Huh? And someone told the news that at the scene of the crash, they did not hear Anton saying these words to his wife. They actually heard a ghost rise up out of his body and say those final words to his wife. And ever since the story went public, our main character is hounded by spiritualists promising her closure. So she is confronted by a medium, and the medium has barely begun when things start happening. Locked doors mysteriously opening, clouds of insects engulfing the house. And unbeknownst to our main character, this is not the first time she's ever contacted the dead, as she's quickly uncovering nightmares of her past. What? This sounds so good. It is on sale October 2024. I will definitely be reading it before then. This is another one that comes out in October. It's called I Did Something Bad by Pie Mo Thet War. Hopefully I said that correctly. And this is about two like Hollywood people, I believe an actor and a journalist, who do something bad together and they have to hide this secret. It's a mystery, but along the way there's a romance. I believe it's like thrilling, cozy mystery, Finlay Donovan vibes as well. I also have In This House of Skin and Wombs. Ooh, I'm scared. And this is by Kyle Edwards, who kindly reached out. And this book sounds so good. I have a ton of indie authors reaching out to me all the time, literally every single day. I get multiple emails. I respond to very, very few unless their books like really sound intriguing to me. This one sounded intriguing. It says, all the women are living a nightmare. Chained down below in a basement, inside a house plagued with evil, Allison Barnes will do anything to get out alive along with her little sister, Wendy. But there's something lurking just above the foot of the stairs, something unimaginable. And if Allison can't understand why these women are down here to begin with, then their nightmare has just begun. What? I don't think this is extreme horror, but this is like hearkening back to the days of extreme horror. Like, doesn't this sound like that? I don't know. Like, I feel like it's gonna be that, but not problematic, which is what I really am looking for. And such a sweet little note Kyle wrote in the book. Thank you, Kyle, for sending this over. I want to read this next month. Next up, we have a weird one that I know like absolutely nothing about. Okay, let me give you backstory on how this book came into my possession. I bought A Blind Date with a Book on Etsy from a store called Belladonna Books. I have received gifts from her store in the past, and I've also placed other orders in the past. Just like, I love her bookish accessories. She has a lot of like Pearl and Maxine and Jennifer's Body kind of like bookish accessories, but I've never done a blind date with a book before because I feel like I have every book on the face of the planet. But she had specifically a blind date with a Good for Her book, and she had a place where you could submit your story graph, so she didn't get you one that you already had. I was so excited to receive this. I've never heard of this book, so we will see. It's supposed to be good for her. It is Method 1533 by Shannon Kirk. Let me know if any of y'all have read this, heard of it, if you have any thoughts about it, because I just don't know anything about this damn book. It says a kidnapped pregnant teen proves to be a ruthless survivor. She has a mission to do two things: save her unborn child from a monster and then exact merciless revenge on him. What? 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 Like, why do I want to read this tomorrow? Like, I fear I need it. I need it. Like, could this be the gem of all gems that I literally got in a random blind date with a book? I don't know. Let me know. Should I give it a try? Next up, getting back into new releases that I actually do know things about, we have The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I love Alison Espach, and I'm so excited for her new release. Also, freaking love this cover. This is about a woman who is like mistaken for a wedding guest. She's just at a place where there's a wedding taking place, and people are like, oh, you're here for the wedding? And she just like is like, yeah, totally, for sure, and blends in with the crowd, and thus a heartwarming emotional tale ensues. I feel like Alison Espach's book leave me with a feeling. When I walk away from her novels, I just feel like I am washed over with the intended emotion from whatever story I just read. And I think that is such a powerful connection from author to reader. I'm very excited for this one. Next up, I have When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. This is about a girl who lives in a world where there was this like great dragoning event where select women were turned into dragons and they just took off and flew away. And she was like, what's going on? First of all, why am I not a dragon? Why is my mother not a dragon? But why did my aunt get to turn into a dragon and leave this world? Like, what's going on? So we're gonna learn about the lore, and I'm sure have some feminist commentary along the way. I also have My Husband by Maud Ventura, and I've been hearing so much about this book. It's about a woman who is perfect, okay? She has cultivated for herself the perfect life, perfect career, perfect looks, perfect husband. And she does that because she's so hypervigilant, so attentive. She does everything you could possibly want until one day she goes too far. What does that mean? I do not know, but I've heard it's a little disturbing and it's a little good for her. And y'all know I'm obsessed with that. Next up, I have something that is not typical for me. Okay, this is intense sci-fi that I think is gonna be a little confusing. So I'm gonna have to like really set aside some time to read this book. It's one of Aspen's favorites of the year and favorites of all time because she is very stingy with the 5 stars that she gives out. So I have to read it. And that is The Mountain and the Sea by Ray Naylor. Also, look at this. The little edges. Yeah, no, I really like this, the look of this. Octopus horror. Doing research on the ocean. Extra human intelligence of asking the octopuses. Octopuses, isn't it octopi? I don't know what this is about. I'm just gonna trust Aspen, okay? I hope I don't get really bored and she doesn't hate me. Next up, I have some romances here. We have Triple Sec by TJ Alexander. This is a polyamory rep romance between 3 people. I love queer people and I love them all coming together, quite literally. So I am gonna be obsessed with this. It's like on vacation, like orgy on vacation. Yeah. And then we have Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. And I've heard a lot about this author, never read from her. Second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers, summertime, small town. Yeah, you know the vibes. It's blurbed by Carly Fortune, come on. I also have Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I did my Abby Jimenez taste test. And if you missed it, I will link it up above and down below. Y'all, I like Abby Jimenez. I had a great time reading her books. For some reason, like half of the comments on that video are like, I'm just so sad, like Hailey didn't like Abby Jimenez. Like, as an Abby Jimenez fan, I'm so sad. I gave one of her books 5 stars. Like, I liked every single book that I read. Just because I have a criticism or like a analytic thought in my head does not mean I don't like the book. I just don't read things and say, it was good, or I hated it. Like, I don't make blanket statements, okay? I have a lot of nuanced thoughts in my brain. That doesn't mean that I don't like a book. Like, you can be analytical about something and also enjoy the entertainment of a rom-com. Like, I am a complex woman. So, please know, I am a fan of Abby Jimenez too, and I want to read her other books. So here's the proof of it. I have Life's Too Short. It's another rom-com. It'll have some emotionalness to it and not much smut, which is seeming to be standard for her, but I like her, okay? So I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna like it. I also have Betty. This is a novel by Tiffany McDaniel? Okay, why was I about to say McDavid? I don't know. But I believe this is one of Kat Chat's favorite books. And I've been just watching her channel more recently. I don't know why. I've just been a little bit enamored with her videos. So if you haven't watched her, you should go watch her Cat Chats here on YouTube. I'll link her down below. She spoke about Betty in an old video. And I just remember her being so deeply impacted by this book that I'm like, I need it. I think I need it. I think I need to trust her and I'm gonna read it. And I don't know what it is. It's supposed to be emotional, character driven, about a girl who comes of age against the knife in the 1950s. We'll see. We've got some new horror here. Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. I read Manhunt. Yes, Manhunt. Last year during Halloween, was kind of meh about it. Excited to see Gretchen's follow-up though. Hopefully this one resonates a little bit better with me. Summer of 1995, 7 queer kids abandoned by their parents at a conversion camp, and everyone leaves a different person. 16 years later, the survivors of that terrible summer finally put an end to the horror before it's too late, because the fate of the world depends on it. Yeah, this sounds so good. And I believe I'll be reading another Gretchen Felker Martin book during Halloween. We love to see it. Get excited for Halloween, y'all. It's in less than a couple months, okay? It's coming up. To me, it's already Halloween, so get ready. I also have a finished copy of Blood Like Mine by Stuart Neville. I believe this comes out literally today, the day that I am filming this. It's an isolated snowy December night as Mother Rebecca Carter drives her van into a snowbank to avoid hitting an elk on a desolate highway. She's at the end of her rope, out of money and food, and still she refuses help from a man in a pickup truck. Her adolescent daughter is on the run from a grisly secret, and the last thing they can afford is to be remembered by anyone they come across. Meanwhile, we're following the FBI agent who is on their tail, and as his investigation brings him closer and closer to where Rebecca and her daughter are hiding out in the foothills of Colorado, the life Rebecca has fought so hard to hold together for her daughter becomes increasingly imperiled. It's a deadly high-stakes game of cat and mouse, and no one is safe and nothing is certain, not even the line between predator and prey. Next up, I have a couple books that Aspen got for me. My book bestie, at this point, I think we all know who Aspen is. If you don't, for some reason, she's been on my channel multiple times. I will link her down below. She's iconic. She's amazing. She's the woman of the moment. She so kindly has gifted me a signed first edition, first printing of Pretty Girls, my favorite book of all time, with the deckled edges. I literally cannot with this, not with the date, like saying this is the first of all time, not me having a signed copy of my favorite book. Like, I'm actually gonna freak out. I've already freaked out about this, but I'll do it again. I have to display this. I have to replace my copy that I have up on the top of my shelves and display this because hello. She also got me By Baby by Carola Lovering, and this is a little thriller about female friendship, fucked up female friendship relationships, and kidnapped babies and women accused of murder. And she said, just like when she read the description, all the tropes were like, yeah, that checks out. That's a Hailey book. So now I have it and I can't wait to read it. We are getting to the end here, I promise, okay? Oh, this is my last stack. And I believe these are all new release thrillers. We have The Best Lies by David Ellis. I cannot wait to read this one. I loved Look Closer by David Ellis. Last year, that one was so good. A fast-paced, twisty thriller that will apparently surprise you at every turn, about an attorney with unthinkable skeletons in his closet who's also a pathological liar. Now, one thing I don't like about this description is it says a diagnosed pathological liar. I use the DSM every day, okay? I am a licensed therapist. I've never heard of a diagnosis called pathological liar. Not a thing. So immediately I'm like, what's going on? Do we have to put the word diagnose in there? Did we have to stigmatize any kind of diagnosis? Don't know, don't care, really. That's just a thing that I noticed. Anyway, Leo, the lying attorney, his fingerprints show up on a murder weapon next to a dead predatory gangster. And no one believes a word that he says to defend himself. He might be the FBI's only shot at taking down the gangster's even more lethal boss. So he is the suspect and the investigator at the same time. I'm interested only because I know how well David Ellis did with his previous book, but I'm nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Diagnosed, what's going on? Next up we have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Why is this the heaviest book I've ever held in my hands? Why is it so heavy? I've held up so many books in this video, literally like 60 something other books. Why is this the heaviest thing I've ever held? And everyone's freaking talking about this, okay? Everyone's giving it 5 stars. Every time I turn around, someone's reading it. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Oh. Okay, this is so me. I'm always like so resistant when everyone starts reading a book and loving it. I'm like, no, I don't want to read it. I don't want to join with you guys. I hate you all. I'll just be real. That's how my pessimistic, apathetic self immediately reacts to things. But then I read this description and I'm like, oh, maybe I like it too. Early morning. Hello, can I speak? Early morning, August 1975, a camp counselor, I love a summer camp book, discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant has gone missing. 13-year-old named Barbara, the daughter of the family who owns the summer camp. And this isn't the first time a child from this family has disappeared. A panicked search begins and thrilling drama unfolds. Sooner rather than later. Y'all got me, okay? The description got me. I'm gonna join with the masses. I'll be a fucking normie. Getting into our last couple thrillers here, we have The Hollywood Assistant by May Cobb. And this was actually inspired by May Cobb's own experience being an assistant to an actor, which I'm so excited to get into. And the final book we have here is While We Were Burning by Sarah Coffey, a fast-paced thriller, allegedly, about what you do when no one is watching. It's about 2 women coming together to solve 2 separate murders. They don't know that they're using each other, but they are. And wow, oh my God, I feel like I just ran a freaking marathon. That was so many books. Let me know if y'all are excited about any of these, if there are any of these that I should prioritize. And I hope you enjoyed watching this little 70 book haul. This little tiny baby miniature little book haul. I'm so excited for fall reading. I'm so excited for Halloween. I'm so excited for everything in the next couple months on my channel. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to follow along, get a little bit more in depth, more videos, more content, etc., you can join my Patreon down below. A lot of good stuff is happening over there. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And of course, don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!